Hello. The reason I'm here speaking with you today is to provide you with some information about your health. I think in this country we are lacking balance in our health, and there's some things that are being left out. We all know about cholesterol, and we all know about diet, and we all know about exercise, but what most people don't know is their role of the nervous system in their immune system. And this is really important. The reason this is important is because most people in today's society think, well, I'm sick because I've caught a germ or because I've taken in a virus or something to that effect, and that virus has overcome my body and it has made me ill, and now I need some kind of pill to kill the virus or the bacteria or the germ, and then it'll heal up my body. But I have this to say to you. How is it that a mom can take an 18-month-old child, nurse this child who happens to be sick and contagious at the time in her arms for 24 hours a day for 7 days while that child is ill, and not become ill herself? Obviously, mom is taking in a large quantity of those germs. And how is it that a 16-year-old boy can kiss his 16-year-old girlfriend even though she has a nasty cold or flu or something to that effect? And if you remember what it's like to be 16, then you know what I'm talking about. How is it that a boy can come into class with a stomach virus, real bad stomach virus, and he's in the restroom half the day? And how is it that only 2 of the children or 3 of the children of the next day are missing from class, and the rest of the class is not missing from class? Well, we know that in a room this big, everybody will breathe the same air in a given day. Everybody will come in contact with the virus. Why is not everyone ill? Why? I think you know if you think about it. You'll say, well, it's resistance. He's got some resistance. He's got an immunity. He's got something to that effect. We all have a different name for it. It's nature. It's whatever. But that's really important, because really what we just said was, well, the germ isn't so important. It's how our body handles that germ. It's obvious that from the moment we're born to the moment we die, we come in contact with millions and millions of germs. Does this mean we should be sick every day? No, because we have a built-in protection. We have an immune system. We have a resistance. That is what is important. And if you agree to that, and I think you would, then why is it that we waste, or let's not say waste, let's say spend so much time giving people medicines to kill germs? Because we just agreed that it really isn't the germ's fault. It's the body's ability to deal with that germ. Do antibiotics, for example, increase your immune system? Do they increase your resistance? No, they don't. That's a problem. Some people out there are of the opinion that long-term antibiotic therapy can actually lower your immune system, and that is what the research is starting to point to today. So, have we really corrected the cause of that problem? No, I don't think so. Where else could the cause of that problem lie? Oh, I'm eating good, I'm exercising, I go to church every Sunday. Why am I sick? Well, I'm going to tell you why you may be sick, and that's your nervous system. What most people don't know is that our nervous system controls and coordinates all the functions and tissues and systems in our body. What does that mean? It means this. It means that all of our organs get a nerve supply. Our heart, our lungs, our stomach, our intestines, all of our glands, all of our tissues gets touched by a nerve. If that nerve flow is interrupted in any way, that tissue will start to die. And if you don't believe me, you go out there and you look for somebody who's paralyzed. They're unfortunate, they broke their spinal cord, they cut their spinal cord in an accident or something. What happens? Their legs will start to shrivel up, don't they? Now, obviously, they're still getting blood supply, they're still getting nutrients, they're still getting oxygen to those legs, but the legs start to atrophy, shrivel, because they have a lack of nerve supply. And people can understand that. Oh, somebody's got a terrible pinched nerve in their neck and they've had it for years, and now their arm starts to look a little smaller or flaccid or what you might call flabby. How can that be? Well, the nerve got pinched, the cells started to shrink, they started to atrophy. Oh, and people can understand that because they can see it on the outside. But what people can't understand is, well, what happens if I take a real hard crash on my bicycle and I foul up some of the nerve supply to my lungs? Well, then what might happen? See, I standing before you, I'm not 225 pounds of strapping He-Man. I am 30 or 40 quadrillion cells all stuck together. The quality of those cells determines my health. If I have a lot of high quality tissue, well then I'm healthy. If I have a lot of low quality tissue, well then I'm sick. I'm going to show you one way that you can get low-quality tissue. And obviously, I'm not downplaying the importance of eating right or resting or having religious faith. But what about those of us who have all those things and we're still ill? The answer lies here, most likely, and you deserve to know about that so that you can make decisions determining your health. It's your body, and never let anybody tell you what to do with it but you. Doctors and chiropractors and people like that, they're coaches for you to help determine your health. They don't dictate, they should just coach you. Well, I know for sure that every 30 or 40 or 50 days, cells are changing in my body. 120 days, my blood will change over new. About 3 years, all my bone will change over new. The old cells die off and new cells are replaced. Problem is if you have any interference to those organs, well, what's going to happen? The next batch of cells that come in, well, they're going to be a little sicker and a little weaker. And then when that happens again, they're going to be a little bit sicker and a little bit weaker, and a little bit sicker and a little bit weaker, and a little bit sicker and a little bit weaker. Finally, we'll get to the point where we'll produce a symptom. The headache, the backache, the digestive problem, the constipation, the heartburn, whatever. Any organ gets a nerve, so it could be any symptom. Most of us then choose to do what? Well, we either ignore it and hope it's going to go away. We've all done that, right? Maybe if I rest a week, it'll go away. And a lot of times it does, right? Hallelujah, that's great. Or we'll do something else. What do we do in today's society? We take a pill. And what does that pill do? It covers up the symptom now, doesn't it? It doesn't correct the cause of why your intestines are stopped up and you're constipated. It doesn't correct the cause of why your high blood pressure is there in the first place. It doesn't correct the cause of why you got that headache, but it does block the symptoms long enough for hopefully your body to regulate and get back to normal. You say, well, that's wonderful. My symptom went away. But if your symptom went away, is that the same thing as the condition going away? We have a big problem with that in this country. We think symptoms equals health. And that's not true. How many people are walking around our community right now and they're loaded up with cancer, but they haven't got a symptom yet? I'd venture to say a lot. And how many people are walking around the United States of America and are HIV positive and don't know it yet? Now, would you consider these people healthy? No, of course not. But they are symptom-free, so they think they're healthy. This is a very dangerous thing because we wait until our body is broken down to a certain degree then to try to patch up the symptoms. That becomes dangerous because we've already lost a great level of our health. How is it that chiropractic plays a role in this nervous system and in health in general? This is how. What will happen is the bones of the spine will become misaligned. And when this happens, the nerves will become interfered with. And when that happens, the nerve tissue will lose its function. This is called a subluxation. A subluxation is a minor misalignment in the bones of the spine that causes nerve interference and a loss of function. Let me say that again. A subluxation is a minor misalignment in the bones of the spine which causes nerve interference and a loss of function. This is very, very important because most people think, well, oh, that's the cause of my sciatic pain or that's the cause of that pinched nerve I have going down my arm. And it very well may be. But what about those nerves that run to your heart and run to your lungs and run to all the other organs in your body? Most people would not think that the slip they had down the stairs 3 years ago is the cause of their digestive upset today, when very obviously the nerves of your lower back control your digestive and your reproductive organs. Nobody in their right mind would think that their car accident 5 or 10 years ago is the cause of their allergies today. They cannot put the two together. Their back is back here, their organs are over here, their problems are in two different areas. But remember this, in the case of an allergy, for example, is it truly the ragweed that's the problem? Is it truly the dog hair or the dust mites that are the problem? If so, why isn't everybody in contact with those things producing symptoms? And they obviously don't. I have no allergies. Why don't my eyes well up and my nose start to run? Because my tissue is healthy. That is the difference. It's not the ragweed. It's not the dust mites. It's your body's ability to handle those things, you see? And when your body gets weakened, when the nerve flow gets decreased, the body weakens, the cells weaken. When the cells weaken, they overreact. They take a normal thing in our environment, come in contact with it, and overreact, and all sorts of alarms start going off, and they start producing these chemicals called histamines. So what do? In our great wonder, we produce antihistamines, and we try to lower that down, and then our body tries to raise it up, and then we have the allergy season. Ta-da! How about we go ahead and correct the cause of that weakness? And when the tissues become healthy, they don't react the same way anymore. They react like everybody else's, and you go through that season without difficulty. So what am I saying? Am I saying that chiropractors cure allergies, chiropractors cure constipation, chiropractors cure headaches, chiropractors cure cancer? No, I didn't say that. Chiropractors do not cure anything, but neither does your medical doctor. We don't cure. Only the body can cure. Only the life within the body can cure. That is the healing force within the body. It's the life within the body, the intelligence within the body. We just make sure that you get 100% of that intelligence that you have getting to where it's supposed to go. It's a very, very simple concept. But obviously so, if I get a cut on my hand, do I need to take out a biology book and say, ooh, that's a contusion, a laceration, an abrasion? Does my body need to know the difference there? And do I have to know that it's prothrombin, red blood cells, platelets, and fibrinogen that all come together to form a fibrous clot? Of course not. Otherwise, when we were 2 years old, we'd bleed to death. Our body knows what to do. Our body's intelligent. The body can take things that aren't even food, really, put them all together, and make a new life form out of it. That is a huge power. Your body is super intelligent. I mean, how does it know to turn this hot dog here into the scab I need to clear my cut on my hand, or the new hair that I'm going to grow, or those things? It can take things, break them down to its essence, reconfigure it, and make new life out of it. That is an awesome power, and that is the power that's in your body. This is not hocus pocus or mumbo jumbo. I mean, let's face facts. We lived a very long time before medications and surgeries and things, and some of these things are absolutely necessary, but I would venture to say that a large percentage that are being undergone right now could have been prevented if people did what it took to ensure health. And people are not ensuring their health. They are treating sickness, and treating sickness is not what it's all about. The hospitals are still full of sick people. 5,000 years of potions and lotions, and the hospitals are still full. They can't tell me how not to get cancer any more than they could before, even with billions of dollars since the 1950s. They can't tell me why it is that my hip needs replacing or my heart gets disease. Oh, they're getting a little better with their diet and things, and that is important. But there's so many things that just don't make sense. Why does the vegetarian get cancer of the colon? Why does somebody who never smoked get lung and respiratory problems? Why does somebody who of any faith or religion still get these nasty illnesses and die? I think there's something missing, and I know there's something missing, and this is what's missing: the role of the nervous system in your health.
Now a health update with Cynthia Scott.
Dr. Anthony Pugliese of Staten Island is using the latest technology to detect health problems in his patients. This special X-ray visualizer, the only device of its kind in New York, allows Dr. Pugliese to determine the condition of one's spine. Then he adjusts improperly aligned vertebrae, relieving pressure on vital nerves. Dr. Pugliese says this procedure can alleviate multiple health problems. For more information, you can call Pugliese Chiropractic at 356-8438.
Don't understand exactly how they would get a subluxation. Well, how does my spine get misaligned in the first place? My spine gets misaligned because of any type of trauma. Now, those traumas can be physical trauma, they can be mental trauma, and they can be chemical trauma. Let's give you some physical traumas. Your birth, that's a physical trauma. 20% of the children, on estimate, will get a subluxation right from the birth process. Does that mean the medical doctor's being a bad guy and trying to hurt your baby? Absolutely not. It is a traumatic procedure. But very often, almost never does the mom say, well, I should take my little boy to the chiropractor to see if he has a subluxation in his neck. But I can tell you this, 90 to 120 pounds of pressure can be used on a delivery, and about 150, 160 pounds of pressure is enough to tear a baby's spinal cord in half. So I think that the amount of force that they're using can certainly be enough to subluxate a little baby. How do you know? Can you tell by looking at them? No. I am a chiropractor. I must see a chiropractor to see if my spine is misaligned. if I have a subluxation, because I can't know by how I feel. And it doesn't pay to wait until your child becomes ill. I mean, how do you explain the little baby who's 8 weeks old, and that child has never left the house, you've never let anybody in who's sick, the baby is breastfeeding, getting all that immunity from mom, but the child still comes up with bronchitis? I mean, that doesn't fit into the model of what they're purporting now, does it? Maybe that child got a subluxation at birth, and maybe that child now is having nerve interference, and maybe that child is now lowering his immune system. There are 400 studies, to my knowledge, which prove the presence of subluxations and prove the effects of those subluxations. Some people out there want to say chiropractic isn't scientific or chiropractic isn't proven. If they would look, they would find this research is there. And I know over the course of time, this will become accepted. At one time, the world was flat. And anybody who thought different was a quack. You know, anybody who thought that you'd sail off the end and you'd fall off into the never, never land and you'd get eaten by sea monsters. And now, of course, we think that's ridiculous because we know that the world is round. But 550 years ago, they swore that the world was flat, only to be proven wrong. Car accidents is a physical form of trauma. 5 miles an hour is enough to whip the cervical curve right out of your spine. All it takes is 5 mile an hour fender bender, that one where you didn't think the car got hurt too bad. Well, those are the ones that whip the curve out of the spine. And who in their right mind would say that, oh, the allergies that I have today are from a car accident that I've had 5 years ago? Very, very few people. But what if during that accident you weakened some of the nerves that supply the tissues in your face, and those tissues started to weaken? Weakened tissue will overreact to things in our environment. Obviously, it's not pollen that's causing the problem, because if it did, then we should all have hay fever. But if I'm breathing the same air you are, and you're having hay fever and I'm not, is the problem with the pollen, or is the problem with the body's reaction to that pollen? That's what we must deal with. We must strengthen the body. We're not going to rid the world of pollen or cat hair or dust mites. We must fortify the body in order to deal with these things. Healthy cells, it doesn't bother them. And that's what we have to do, ensure the health of all the cells in our body. I'm not 225 pounds of a strapping He-Man here. I'm 30 or 40 quadrillion cells all stuck together. The quality of those cells is what determines my health. Let's see another form of physical trauma: slips and falls on the ice or on the sidewalk or in the pool, accidents at home, practical jokes, even sporting events like football and wrestling and hockey, although they're national pastimes and we love them so much, those are things that can subluxate your spine. And if you ever take a notice, how long is it that the football players live and the hockey players live on the professional level? How long is their lifespan compared to dancers and entertainers to that effect who aren't physically traumatizing themselves? Mental forms of trauma that can subluxate you are constant states of fear and stress. These things produce muscle tension, they produce chemical changes in the body, and they will overload your nervous system over the course of time. Chemical means to subluxate yourself or traumatize your nervous system are things like excessive alcohol, excessive caffeine, excessive nicotine, poor diet. All of these things will refer back to your nervous system, can actually subluxate your spine. So let's recap this whole thing. You've somehow traumatized yourself physically, chemically, or mentally. Your spine gets a subluxation, which is a misaligned bone. It's choking off the nerve. If that nerve happens to go to an organ, the organ will start to weaken over the course of time. If it happens to go to the muscles, it will also weaken over the course of time, but those will usually give you pain. The organs don't usually give you pain, they give you organ dysfunction or organ disease, where the organ starts to act abnormally. This affects your body chemistry, throws off your system, and will also eventually come out as a symptom. You, as an American, can choose to cover up your symptom. You can take surgery, you can take massage, you can take physical therapy, you could take prayer or some sort of healing, or you can get to the cause of the problem, which in this case would be in the spine and in the nervous system. You could take that pressure off with an adjustment, and that's what we call removing the subluxation, and adjustments are done by many means. And once the adjustment is made, the pressure will come off the nerve's flow will start to return to normal, and if all things being equal, if you caught it in time, then the organ should heal. And that's very important because when the organ heals, everything starts to reverse. The chemistry reverts to normal. The body heals itself. Do you need a biology book to say, "Ooh, I have a cut on my hand"? You must first diagnose that as a laceration versus a contusion or an abrasion. Absolutely not. Your body doesn't need to know the difference in the names of these conditions. It does what the body has done for a million years. It heals itself. Leave it alone, keep it clean, it'll heal itself. At which point does your body lose this intelligence? It never does. Some people think, well, okay, my body's smart and it knows how to heal a cut, but now that I have bronchitis, it doesn't know how to heal itself. I find that ridiculous. What will happen, though, is the intelligence can be blocked. It can often be blocked in the nervous system. Again, am I saying that chiropractors will heal you from bronchitis? Of course not. Chiropractors can't heal you of anything. Medical doctors can't heal you of anything. Clergy can't heal you of anything. Only you can heal you of anything. These other people are helping you. They are making you more comfortable. Sometimes, in the chiropractic case, they're even getting to the root cause of the problem. Okay? And that's important because when these tissues and organs break down, do you think they'd be more susceptible to bacteria and germs and viruses? Of course they are. Of course they are, and it's been proven since the 1950s to be true. Healthy tissue is impenetrable by viruses and germs. Only weakened tissue can be penetrated. So is the idea to kill every germ in the world? I don't think you could do that. If I said, here's $1 million, I want you to go and shoot every rat in the Staten Island dump, do you think you could do it? Of course not. One is you couldn't kill them all because you couldn't find them all. And two is it's not really the problem with the rats, it's a problem with the dump attracting them. Is your body a dump attracting disease? Is your body sick and weak? Is your body full of subluxations, weakening the nerves and weakening the tissue? If it is, there's only one way to fix it. To get that adjustment, turn the nerve flow back on, and allow your body to heal itself. All those other things are just going to be a cover-up, okay? I hope that you learned something from this talk today. I know that I enjoy to give it because it's your right to be healthy, and nobody can ever take that away from you. Thanks a lot.